this module, we shall discuss about balanced budget multiplier. The first name that comes to the mind when one talk about the multiplier is of the famous economist J.M. Keynes, who propounded the important concept of investment multiplier. But he was not the first one to use this concept. The multiplier concept was first developed by R.F. Khan in early 1930s. R.F. Khan utilized the concept in reference to the change in employment as a result of change in investment and employment. Khan's multiplier came to be known as employment multiplier, and the concept was later polished by Keynes with reference to the change in total income as a result of original change in investment and income. Keynes' multiplier came to be known as investment multiplier. The value of multiplier is K is equal to 1 upon 1 minus MPC. After studying this module, you shall be able to know the concept of multiplier, learn the working of a multiplier, identify the types of multiplier, evaluate the impact of taxes on the income and output, analyze the impact of balanced budget multiplier. A multiplier is defined as the ratio of the change in the equilibrium level of output to the change in an autonomous variable. Autonomous variables are those which do not change when the economy changes. They are assumed not to depend on the state of the economy. Examples of autonomous variables can be planned investment, government spending and taxes. Multiplier can be thought of as a number which shows the size of the impact of a particular macroeconomic policy measure. It tries to measure the additional effects of a policy that are immediately measurable. Most of the policy measures at the macroeconomic level are of such nature that the genuine effect of the measure is not quantified by the effect of the measure itself. The multiplier effect of these policy measures is such that the equilibrium level of output increases more than the increase in the autonomous expenditure, and the value of the multiplier is always greater than 1. Now we will study about the assumptions of multiplier. First, there is no induced investment, but there is a change in autonomous investment, which is the net increase in investment and which is maintained till the completion of the multiplier process. Second, consumption is a function of current income and the marginal propensity to consume is constant. Third, there is no time lag between the increase in investment and the consequential increase in income. Fourth, there is excess capacity in the consumer goods industries to meet the increased demand due to rise in income resulting from increased investment. Fifth, there are no changes in price level and the economy is a closed one which is not affected by foreign influences. Moving on to the discussion of investment multiplier. The Keynesian theory of multiplier is considered an important part of the Keynesian theory of employment. According to Keynes, establishes a precise relationship between aggregate employment and income and the rate of investment given the propensity to consume. The value of the multiplier is calculated with the help of marginal propensity to consume. Delta y is equal to delta c plus delta I. Delta y is equal to c into delta y plus delta I. Since delta c is equal to c into delta y, then delta y minus c into delta y is equal to delta I. Moving on further, delta y in bracket 1 minus c is equal to delta y, where delta y is equal to delta I upon 1 minus c. Delta y upon delta I is equal to 1 upon 1 minus c. k is equal to 1 upon 1 minus c, since k is equal to delta y upon delta I. Here C is the marginal propensity to consume. Since the sum of marginal propensity to consume MPC and marginal propensity to save MPS equal unity, that is MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. We can think of MPS as 1 minus MPC, and thus the multiplier can also be computed from the marginal propensity to save, and it is the reciprocal of MPS, that is K is equal to 1 upon MPS. Now the table shows the derivation of the multiplier. In the first column is the MPC, then K, the value is 1 upon 1 minus MPC, and then the multiplier, that is K. The first value is 0.00, the value of multiplier K comes out to be 1. Then the following has been derived in the same manner. The above table depicts how the value of multiplier varies with the changes in the MPC and MPS. It can be seen that the value of the multiplier have a direct relationship with MPC and an inverse relationship with MPS. As the value of MPC lies between 0 and 1, the value of the multiplier is always between 1 and infinity. When the whole of the income is saved and no amount is spent for consumption, then the MPC takes the value 0, and thus the value of multiplier turns to be equal to unity. On the other hand, MPC is unity when the whole of income is used for the consumption purpose, which in turn leads to an infinite multiplier. An infinite multiplier will lead to full employment in the economy and then will be creating a limitless inflationary spiral. But such is a rare phenomena. Therefore, the coefficient of multiplier lies between 1 and infinity. Let us now discuss the working of the multiplier. Suppose an economy is in equilibrium and the marginal propensity to consume is 0.8 in the economy. Now, the autonomous investment is increased by rupees 100 crores. This will instantaneously lead to increase in the production as well as income by rupees 100 crores. 80% of this new income will be instantly spent on consumption goods, which will thus lead to an increase in production and income by the same amount. The second round goes with an increase of rupees 80 crores. This process is of continuous and dwindling nature, which will keep on operating till the total income generated by rupees 100 crores reaches the level of rupees 500 crores. The explanation of such a level of total income generation lies in the value of the multiplier. With MPC equal to 0.8, the value of multiplier is K is equal to 1 upon 1 minus 0.8, which is equal to 1 upon 0.2, which is then equal to 5. Thus, from the multiplier formula, we have delta y is equal to K into delta I, which is equal to 5 into 100 is equal to 500 crores. The process of income generation as a result of increase in the investment is depicted diagrammatically in figure. The consumption curve C has a slope of 0.8, depicting that the MPC equals 0.8. The old equilibrium level is obtained where the C plus I curve intersects the 45-degree line and the intersection occurs at E1. The old equilibrium income level is OY1. Now, the increase in investment of delta I is shown by the vertical distance between the C plus I and C plus I plus delta I curves. The new equilibrium point is E2, where the C plus I plus delta I curve intersects the 45-degree line. The new equilibrium level is OY2. The rise in the income level y1, y2 is shown by delta y and is 5 times the vertical distance between C plus I and C plus I plus delta I, as the MPC is 0.8. The multiplier operates in a similar fashion for a decrease in the autonomous investment. In the same economy, a decrease of rupees 500 crores in the investment level would lead to a decrease to the tune of rupees 500 crores in the income level. Next, we shall discuss the government spending multiplier. Government spending multiplier may be defined as the ratio of the change in the equilibrium level of output to a change in the government spending. The impact of an initial change, whether an increase or decrease in government spending G on consumption expenditure, income, production and equilibrium income, is measured by it. The size of multiplier is dependent on the slope of the planned aggregate expenditure line. The aggregate demand for the economy is Y is equal to C plus I plus G, where Y is equal to in bracket A plus BY plus I plus G. Y is equal to A plus B in bracket Y minus T plus I plus G. Y is equal to A plus BY minus BT plus I plus G. Y in bracket 1 minus B is equal to A minus BT plus I plus G. Now, Y is equal to A minus BT plus I plus G upon 1 minus B. Now, suppose that the government spending is increased by the amount of delta G. Then, corresponding increase in income Y is given by delta Y is equal to delta G into 1 upon 1 minus B. Here, B is the MPC and MPS is equal to 1 minus MPC. So, the equation can be rewritten as delta Y is equal to delta G into 1 upon 1 minus MPC. Delta Y is equal to delta G into 1 upon MPS. Therefore, the multiplier for government spending is K is equal to delta Y upon delta G is equal to 1 upon MPS. Next, we will understand the tax multiplier. Tax multiplier may be defined as the ratio of the change in the equilibrium level of output to a change in taxes. The impact of an initial change, whether an increase or decrease in taxes on production, income, consumption spending and equilibrium income, is measured by it. The multiplier for a change in taxes is not the same as the multiplier for a change in planned investment, government spending and others. The aggregate demand for the economy is Y is equal to C plus I plus G. Now, replacing C with A plus BY, we have Y is equal to A plus BY plus I plus G. Now, replacing Y is equal to A plus B in bracket Y minus T plus I plus G. Y is equal to A plus BY minus BT plus I plus G. Y in bracket 1 minus B is equal to A minus BT plus I plus G. Y is equal to A minus BT plus I plus G upon 1 minus B. Now, suppose that the government spending is increased by the amount of delta T, then corresponding increase in income Y is given by delta Y is equal to delta T into minus B upon 1 minus B. Here, B is the MPC and MPS is equal to 1 minus MPC. So, the equation can be rewritten as delta Y is equal to delta T into minus MPC upon 1 minus MPC. Delta Y is equal to delta T into minus MPC upon MPS. Therefore, the multiplier for taxes is k is equal to delta y upon delta t is equal to minus MPC upon MPS. Moving to the discussion of balanced budget multiplier. Balanced budget multiplier may be defined as the ratio of the change in the equilibrium level of output to a change in government spending, where the change in government spending is set off by a change in taxes so that no deficit is created. The balanced budget multiplier has a value equal to 1. The change in y consequential to the change in g and the identical change in t is exactly the same size as the initial change in g or t itself. It is 1 when estimated income is equal to estimated expenditure, that is, the amount of tax is equal to the amount of expenditure in the form of government spending. This kind of budget leads to increase in the aggregate demand and brings financial stability. Balanced budget multiplier is equal to tax multiplier plus government multiplier, that is delta y upon delta t plus delta y upon delta g is equal to minus MPC upon MPS plus 1 upon MPS is equal to 1 minus MPC upon MPS, which is equal to MPS upon MPS, which is equal to 1. The effect of the increase in autonomous government's purchases is shown by an upward shift in the aggregate demand function from AD1 to AD2. This change in government purchases leads to an increase in the equilibrium output by Y1, Y2. Now, the policy is designed such that delta G is equal to delta T and the effect of an increase in autonomous taxes by the same amount will shift the aggregate demand function from AD2 to AD3 and the equilibrium output decreases by Y2, Y3. The final change in the output is equal to the original change in the government purchases and hence the multiplier is 1. The tax revenue also changes by the same amount as the government purchases and hence the multiplier is the balanced budget multiplier. Let us now summarize what we have learned in this module. A multiplier is defined as the ratio of the change in the equilibrium level of output to the change in an autonomous variable. The multiplier establishes a precise relationship between aggregate employment and income and the rate of investment given the propensity to consume. The value of the multiplier is always between 1 and infinity. Government spending multiplier may be defined as the ratio of the change in the equilibrium level of output to a change in the government spending. Tax multiplier may be defined as the ratio of the change in the equilibrium level of output to a change in taxes. Balanced budget multiplier may be defined as the ratio of the change in the equilibrium level of output to a change in government spending, where the change in government spending is set off by a change in taxes so that no deficit is created. The balanced budget multiplier has a value equal to 1. The change in y consequential to the change in g and the identical change in t is exactly the same size as the initial change in g or t itself.